In 1856, at the height of the cotton industry, a property was built by the architect J.K. Colling for the wealthy banker Richard Naylor. His remit was simple: to use the best of Victorian design with no expense spared. What he created was a magnificent merchant's chamber in the heart of city centre Liverpool that went by the name of the Albany.
It is a lovely building, or it was a lovely building.
It makes me very sad and rather depressed when I see the inside of what it's become.
John, can you tell us a little bit about the history of the Albany?
Yes, certainly. The Albany dates from around about 1856. It was a speculative office development by a local banker. The building, as you can see, is essentially 4 stories. It has a central courtyard. It's in a classical style with some Gothic stonework and tracery and floral design. It's now been empty for some 15 years. The reason for that is probably obviously because of the decline in the office market in Liverpool and the unpopularity of this type of office space.
My mother used to work in the Albany, and she used to work in probably 5 or 6 different offices. She used to work, one of the offices I knew she worked for was Usdaw, the Shop Workers Union office. And she used to go in of an evening after they'd finished work, and she used to clean the offices and then set the fire for the next day, because there was no central heating. There were fires in all the offices. And we used to go and help her fill in the buckets full of coke and coal ready to take to the offices. She probably used to finish about 8 o'clock at night. And I say we went home, but of a morning when she went back, she used to probably go about 5 o'clock in the morning by herself.
I worked for the NAFI during the war, and we were employed in the Home Accounts branch in Hood Street, which is now the Gyratory in Liverpool. The building's completely gone, but some of us were transferred over here to the Albany, and we had so many rooms that were just let off for office work, and they were quite cosy. They had open fires, and we just did all the office work, and it was a reserved occupation. Obviously it was quite secret, or where all the addresses of camps and military people were serving. So although we didn't sign any documents, it was sort of fairly secret. The NAFI had just 2 rooms up here, on a few floors up, and they were very cosy. We had an open coal fire, and we just did office clerical work while we were there.
Because of the coal fire, I mean, the people would be warm in the office, but there was very little lighting in the office, and the offices were very crowded because they were only small rooms. They were trying to do probably a lot of work. There was no such thing as computers then. You know, everything was done manually. It was a situation where everyone helped out in the office, and there was, you know, that was the environment we lived in.
Old Hall Street was one of the first 7 streets to be formed in Liverpool back in the year 1207 and was to become the heart of the financial district. Richard Naylor, before owning the Albany, was responsible for the building of the adjacent Cotton Exchange, which was to play a vital part in the city's development. These early pictures show the original Cotton Exchange before its recent facelift. It used to be a thriving market environment with merchants from all over the country bartering for the best price for their goods.
I used to visit the Albany mainly during the 1970s for various reasons, sometimes to drop the company's post in at the main post office, which was just across the road from here, round the corner, and that was quite memorable. About 5:30 every evening it got very busy indeed, as you can imagine. But the thing I remember, I think, most about the Albany was a newspaper called the Liverpool Weekly News, and my word, how this city misses that newspaper. It was always politically very balanced, it was supported by all political parties and was a credit to Liverpool, and I think it's sadly missed today.
The Albany's future has been scrutinised before. In the late 1970s, the building reached a crucial point in its history as councillors argued the pros and cons of renovation against demolition.
It's a Grade 2 listed building, and when they bought it, they bought a listed building, and the owner should be responsible and you know, live with the law. And if they want to knock it down, then they're in fact not acknowledging what we create these laws for.
The decision was made to renovate the listed building, and Granada's Bob Greaves came to observe it in all its glory back in 1981.
And it's been kept extremely well, hasn't it?
Yes, some years ago it looked as if it was very dilapidated, but fortunately it's now been restored and it's in a very good condition.
The building was closed down for quite a long time, probably through wrangles of ownership, people looking to develop the building but couldn't get planning permission, and the building did go down.
Unfortunately, Liverpool in the past has lost some of its very historic buildings, so I'm very pleased that the Albany at least will remain intact, and it's good to see it being refurbished. It's a building that Liverpool needs. It's a building that's, after all, is part of our heritage, and it gives me some satisfaction, even though the places I used to remember have gone, to know that at least the building will be refurbished and will add to the city's future.
The renovation of the Albany ties in with the renaissance of the city as a whole. With property prices rising and city centre living becoming more fashionable, it can only be seen as a positive sign for the future of this proud building. Fred, what's your link with the Albany?
I had an office here for 16 years. From about 1970. I'm a partner in a design firm, and our HQ was here for 16 years.
What kind of environment was it to work in?
We liked it very much, although we knew even then that it wasn't top of the range office accommodation. Not that we were interested in that. We preferred to be in something historic.
What are your feelings today, being back here after a good deal of time and seeing the entrance of the building?
Oh, it's sad to see the state it's now in, because we kept our interest in the building, and we still don't work very far from here now.
You're quite apprehensive about going in again?
A bit.
I'll be walking Fred back through the Albany in part 2 of Derelict Discoveries. But for now, let's have a look at another landmark building.
The rain falls hard on a humdrum town. This town has dragged you down.
The exterior of this impressive brick structure gives no clues as to its previous existence. But I'll be using these keys to open this door and all will be revealed. We're in Ashton Under Lyne, a few miles east of Manchester. Join me in a few minutes. Used by the fire brigade in the late 20th century and occasionally as the British restaurant during World War II, it's still not entirely obvious as to the building's main role. Even walking through this grand arena with its balcony and high windows doesn't give us too many clues. But if I was to stand on this spot 25 years ago, I would be extremely wet. This concrete area was originally a swimming pool.
Well, it's really unrecognisable now, obviously. It used to be the hub of all life, plenty going off,
The building as I came in, they've just wrecked it. They've just taken all the character away from it. You know, the pool's gone, the changing rooms have gone. It's just a shame that building's like this, gutter rack and ruin really.
There used to be a wash house at the back, and obviously they didn't have washers when I was young, so my mum used to work at the local mill and come and do her washing at the back there.
It was always cold here, you know, the water was cold, it was the changing rooms over there, they were always very, very cold, so no, I don't think anybody at the time when we were moving were probably glad to go then. The new pool that they built was much better because it was a shorter pool. Some of the older people would have been, because they'd have had a lot more memories, they'd been here a lot longer than what I had.
From their opening in 1870 until the early 20th century, the baths provided a vital facility for the local community. Many houses didn't have their own bathing facilities, so every week families would queue for up to an hour to visit the white-tiled rooms of Hugh Mason baths. For a couple of pence, you'd be given a towel, a piece of soap and the chance to sit in the tubs and scrub away 7 days' worth of grime.
Everyone had tin baths at home, so when you came and you were able to turn the taps on, it was wonderful. But the baths were very big and ugly really. Huge taps and the water gushed out, nearly knocked you off your feet.
The baths were originally funded by local mill owner Hugh Mason and subsequently named in his honour. Mason was a hugely influential local figure and in 1880 was elected as MP for Ashton until his death in 1886. Sisters Mary and Margaret used to visit the baths in their youth and haven't been back inside for half a century.
There were fun days because you met all your friends here. It was like a community centre as in the olden days, more than what you would think, because this is where you met everyone. And there was the old lockers, I think, was on that side, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I don't know.
I think so, as I can remember walking in. And then they had private ones, but we couldn't afford to go in the private ones, very, very rare. So we had to go in the communal ones.
And what kind of money are we talking here? How much did you have to pay?
Tuppence in own money.
And what about the balcony area? How was that used?
That was where I think the private cubicles were.
I see.
But we couldn't afford it, of course. And then we came...
Unless you came with a boyfriend.
Oh, you used to bring boyfriends down here as well?
Oh, you did.
And this is probably where you met most of your boyfriends as well?
Well, I didn't.
I did.
She might have done, but I didn't.
Did you?
I was a bit shy.
Were you? So you've got your best costume on the weekends then?
No, well, the only swing costume I can remember having was all elasticated.
Elasticated.
They're all elasticated, and if it got too wet, it tongue and it dropped.
It drooped.
Which isn't good for getting a boyfriend,
no,
is it?
And you always had to wear a bathing cap. It was a strict rule. As time went on, of course, we left school with no private bathrooms in the houses. We lived in this area of Ashton. We came here Friday evening, Saturday morning for a proper bath. We used to call out to each other, Ian Mildred, Ian Betty.
So the familiar faces here every week?
Well, yeah, and actually if you climbed up onto the bath, you could see the next person in the bath if you wanted to do.
And boys and girls were separate, I presume?
Oh, no.
Really?
You could climb up.
So this was relative luxury, really, to come here and
in private. It was the privacy we didn't get at all.
That's right. I mean, I was still coming here when I was 17 and a half years of age. I came straight from the mill with the turbine on and my pipe cleaners in, and shouting to the girls, "I'll see you in the Pally at 8:30."
Really? So you'd come here to get ready and then go out for the night?
Yes, because there was no other way to do it.
It's still uncertain as to the direction in which plans for refurbishment will take, but thankfully it is looking like there will be a bright future for Hugh Mason House in only a few years' time.
We bought this building because it's the key to redeveloping this whole west end of Ashton. It's also a fabulous building architecturally, and you can't restore this building unless you sort out the area in which it's situated. So the plans for this building is to be the centrepiece of the whole redevelopment, new public square in front of it for people to sit, relax and enjoy, very high quality. And my own personal aspiration is for a hotel for this area, one that will have restaurants, bars and nighttime activities. That's the ambition for it.
Back to Liverpool now and the Grand Albany building on Old Hall Street. The paving slabs in this area of the main courtyard were removed a few years ago to make way for a proposed water feature. This revealed a network of catacombs which occupy the entire foundations of the building, with tunnels that used to stretch all the way down to the docks before they were securely bricked up forever. We can now catch up with Fred O'Brien as he revisits his old office on the first floor of the East Wing. The interior's decayed quite a great deal, we can see that, Fred. What was it like when you worked here?
Oh, pretty impressive. All the walls plastered, obviously, all the doors in very good order, and all the fittings excellent. Balustrades all around the public areas. This was one end of our room with ornate fireplace there.
Did you use the fireplace in your office?
We had storage heaters, but some of the more old-fashioned firms in the building would have had their own coal fires.
Not your typical office block, is it at all?
Oh no, we were conscious then it was pretty special. We liked the idea of being in a historic setting. It suited our personalities.
It was a good environment to work in.
Yes, we liked it very much.
And what was in here in this room?
This is the main workroom with our drawing boards and desks. That was a wall safe. The room on the far side was a photographic darkroom, accessed through that door over there.
These rooms have been through many transformations in their time. Architects, stockbrokers and accountants have all worked here right up until the building's closure in the late 1980s. A far cry from their original role as meeting places for cotton merchants and wealthy businessmen.
This was the area where the gentleman's club was, and they used to just be sitting playing dominoes. They were privileged to have beans on toast served to them, and for a short while I was able to come down as the office junior and collect a tray of beans on toast for the members of our staff. And of course we were rationed then, so beans on toast at 4p a head was quite, a bit of a perk really, I suppose they call it now. But then after a while I was stopped from coming down because it diverted their attention from their game of dominoes. And it wasn't that I was any sort of a distraction really, because I wasn't a glamour girl. I was just the office junior.
Tell us a little bit about the covert industry that was going on here as well.
Oh yes, we deduced finally that there was a small operation in the South Corridor, which was a mail order naughty lingerie setup.
Brilliant. So actually going on here in the Albany.
Yes.
I started working here back in 1987. I came from my first interview straight from school, more or less, and it was for an architectural practice who were actually based at the top, on the top level floor. I used to get off the train at Moorfields and shoot through on the side entrance, and I used to cut across the corridor and walk up the staircase at the back. My typical day would be making tea and delivering letters and doing prints and doing drawings on the drawing board.
We lived in tenements which were about a quarter of a mile away. It was easy accessible because we could walk through Exchange Station and just down the street, and we were in the offices. The lifestyle was whatever was available. I mean, it was after the war, the food rationing was still on, and it was whatever was available. If someone had something in one house and they had too much, they would give the next house to it. That was the type of environment we lived in. The neighbours looked after each other.
Coming back to see this building after such a long time was quite sad. It was just totally different to how I remembered it. And I couldn't believe how such a state it had got into.
From my earliest memory of the building was a lovely building anyway. The courtyard down below, they used to have benches down there and people used to come out and have their dinner there. People used to walk through there, going home from work and walking through to Exchange Station, because they used to look up at the building and see what a marvellous building it was.
A renovation of the property has already been attempted once back in the mid-1990s. The owner had tried to sell these individual flats to private owners, but the project proved unsuccessful and the building remained derelict until it was acquired by its new owners in 2002. These apartments have never been lived in and are going to be completely demolished to make way for the new phase of development that is currently underway. The brand new staircase and kitchen fittings have already been partly dismantled, and it seems odd that I am one of only a handful of people that will ever see them as they were first intended.
Apparently they've got a new developer in now, and I hope he does the work and brings it up to the level it was all them years ago. If he brings it back to the style of the 50s and the 60s, the building will be appreciated, and it'll probably appreciate as well. Instead of going down, it'll go up.
I think it's the main features of the building that you fall in love with even before you go potentially into where the flats are going to be. You walk through the main entrance gates and you've got the marble pillars and the ornate plaster ceiling. You go down the steps into the private courtyard and they've got the wrought iron bridges going across the walkways across the ground floor. In the commercial space, or the potential commercial space, we've got brick battle vaulted ceilings, and then down the corridors we've got a natural light well that brings in natural light from floor to ceiling, and it just makes you fall in love with the building. I've recently returned from a trip to Rome to see the building that the Albany was actually based on, which is called the Palazzo Farnese, a four-storey building of similar size, with the definitive features being the windows, the size and design of the windows, and also the main entrance with the central courtyard, obviously, which are all the things that make it comparable.
Well, the Albany is in an area where there are beautiful buildings, and I think the area is on the up and up. So the Albany can only be a leader to bring more buildings in that area up to the top.
Liverpool will be crowned European Capital of Culture in 2008, and by then the Albany will be playing a vital part in the city's regeneration once more. There are hundreds of other buildings across the northwest region that have the potential to be classed as landmark properties once again. On next week's Derelict Discoveries, we'll be visiting another two. Thanks for watching.